Oh, good evening, internets. It's me, DP Knudten, for another edition of Bookward Bound, my 301-day journey from I should really do this to done. And what is that done? It's the creation of a brand new book for 2021 called, and you've already seen this artwork, Nonfiction Brand, Discover, Craft, and Communicate the completely true, completely you brand you already are. And yep, that's what I'm doing every night for 301 consecutive days. I'm actually coming down here and working on the book in one form or another, moving it forward. Some nights I may be writing. Other nights I might be editing or proofreading. Some nights I'll be designing, and others I'll be outlining or mind mapping or coming up with new ideas for the book. Now, the book is pretty well established with what I think is about 200 pages of copy thus far, but I want this book to be about 250 to 275 pages in length total. So I've still got some work to do, and I'm doing it by incorporating the stories of a lot of the people that I have on my podcast, which happens to be called Nonfiction Brand. And I tell their stories and I make points based on their experience. And so tomorrow, I'll be editing a new episode of the Nonfiction Brand podcast featuring Stephanie Liu, who is a really great friend of mine that I met at Social Media Marketing World, and she's fantastic when it comes to live stream video, how to do it, where to do it, what to do with it, and all that stuff. But she's doing a really good job creating a personal brand based on that. So I think that tomorrow, after I work on actually edit the podcast episode, I'm going to be probably writing about her in this section that's called Plant Your Flag Live, and it's all about her and what she's doing online. So I don't have copy necessarily ready to write tonight for it, but I know that tomorrow I will be writing about her regarding this specific topic and more. And I'm also looking through the sections of the book, which are over here in this column, and just looking to see if I need to delete some of them, expand some of them, etc. Because as I say, I think I've got about 200 pages of a 6-inch by 9-inch book, paperback, written right now, and I think I want it to be about 250 pages. I think this could easily go 275, maybe even 300 pages. I don't want to go that big because that type of business book is daunting for a lot of people, but we'll see where it ends up. So tonight, what am I doing? I'm planning for tomorrow. I'm getting ready to write about Stephanie Liu and her mini empire regarding live streaming, which I've learned a ton from. And I'm also looking at other people that I'm going to have on the podcast. I got to contact Sarah Gross, Paul Raimondo, yes. Stephanie Liu, yes. Kate Toon, yes. Richard Moore, got to contact him. Get him on the podcast again. Christian Small, I think I'm going to give up on him and just tell his story based on what I can learn without him. Because here's the funny thing, and I don't really understand why it happens, but and I understand if you're a huge Hollywood star or someone who's mega famous and all that stuff, why would you want to come on a smaller podcast like mine? Well, I'm not talking about people like that. I'm talking about people who are frankly not that big a deal, or maybe a middling deal. And, I'm asking them to come on the podcast, and a lot of people are not even responding back with a thanks but no thanks, I'm not interested. They aren't even responding. And to me, that's unfathomable, because by participating on my podcast, you get your name out there, you get your ideas out there, you get someone else amplifying your message in a truly potentially viral way, and it costs you nothing but an hour of your time. I do everything else. I do all the editing, I do all the posting, I do all the promotion of it, all that stuff. And all I need you to do is come on the podcast and be yourself. It absolutely boggles my mind that there are people out there who don't even give you the time of day when you ask them if they would come on the podcast. So the funny thing is, when I wrote my first book, Rotoma, the ROI of Social Media Top of Mind, I asked some people to blurb the book. I asked a total of 5 people to blurb the book, meaning take a look at the book. If you like it, say something nice about it, and I'll include it in the book or on the cover or on the back. And out of those 5 people, 2 of them are what I would consider top tier. 2 of them were like second tier. 1 of them was third tier. And out of all those people, guess what? Who responded? Just guess. Well, if you guessed the 2 top tier people responded and the others didn't, you would be correct. And this is what impressed me, which was, ever wonder how top tier people become top tier people? Because they say yes, because they participate, because they want to help where they can, and they're kind and they're decent and they're responsive. So here I get the 2 top tier people to blurb the book and 3 people who could burnish their own brands by being an authority that blurbs a book deigned not to respond to it. Makes no sense to me. And if I can give you a little bit of advice, if someone asks you very nicely, very politely, if they can use your story, if they can help amplify the truth about who you are, what you do, and how you do it, why would you ever say no? Especially when that person's not saying, I can only fit you in at this time on this date, but you tell me when you're available and I will make this happen. There are people out there who purportedly want to build their professional and personal brands and say no to the people who want to help them build and amplify their personal and professional brands. How crazy is that? It's super crazy and really, really crazy if you ask me. Anyway, enough of me kvetching about that. I got to look at what I'm going on here. And tonight's episode is not going to be terribly long because it's a Friday. It's a Friday night. I'm tired. You're tired. We're all tired. But I do want to kind of touch base with the book, just kind of put my fingers on its pulse and see if there's anything that I'm missing right now. Because the big thing I was missing was a bunch of guests for the Nonfiction Brand podcast. So this week I did make appointments with Paul Raimondo. Well, he was already on for next week. Stephanie Liu, I already got her. Kate Toon, going to talk to her in November. I got to talk to Richard Moore and Sarah Gross. I got to get them via email to come on the podcast because they have great stories, and I know they're smart enough to understand that, hey, this DP guy will help me amplify my brand message, and he'll do all the work, and all I have to do is show up and answer a few questions. Of course, I'm going to do that. Show up and answer a few questions. So, anyway, what else am I doing tonight? I don't think I'm going to be doing a whole lot else, to be honest. Because last night I checked and I compiled the book and it came out to about 220 pages. Take out 20 pages for blank pages and stuff that need to be fixed. And I'm looking at a 200-page book minimum right now. Plus, I've got all these red sections, all these red flag sections, which are telling me, hey, dude, you need to write something here. And the whole thing is, I know what I want to write because I've already come up with what I want to talk about. I just haven't actually done the writing. And I think at this point, especially this later stage in the book, in the development of the book, since today is the 21st, right? 8/21, which means this is episode 167, and I've got 134 left to go. I got to get some writing done. So I think I'm going to have to take some of this stuff offline and write during the day when my brain is really fresh. Because here's one of the things I learned a long, long time ago, and that is that everybody has a what I like to think of as a power cycle, which is that you have a power window during your day where you can do really hard work, especially as a writer, and then you have to cycle it 24 hours to the next time period. And the funny thing is, earlier today I was reading a blog post about a writer who was talking about how he hates to write but loves to have written. And boy, did that resonate with me. I hate to write, I hate to type, but I love to have written something. And the only way to do that is to come down here and actually write some stuff. But the other part of it is to recognize that your prime time for writing may not be at 9:00 p.m. Central Daylight Time on a Friday night. I know that for sure. Friday nights are like a no-fly zone for me for anything. Talk to my wife. Do you want to go out Friday night? No, I do not want to go out Friday night. Well, instead, I need to write during the day, typically in the morning, like let's say from 10 to 1 o'clock p.m., 10 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. That's my prime time. If I can get going earlier, even better, because I might be able to squeeze in 4 hours. But I think the fact is that with a lot of writers, the longest period of time you can write in that type of single-focused, flow state writing cycle, it's only about 2 to 4 hours, and probably more closer on the 2 side than the 4 side. You know, for all the Isaac Asimovs in the world who wrote for 8 to 12 hours a day, there are the rest of us who write 2 hours, 3 hours, maybe 4 hours before you're just mentally spent. That's the focus that's required. And one of the funny things is, as a writer working with art directors, a long time ago I learned this. Writers gotta focus, focus, focus. Art directors, they have to focus, 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 and then do a lot of finish work like kerning and leading and all the little scoot, tiny little stuff. You know, it's like sandpaper stuff. The heavy lift is the concept. The second heaviest lift is the framing out of the execution of the concept. And then the easy lift is all the little nuancy stuff that art directors frankly geek out about. Well, that's not true with writers, because the concept is everything. And then the execution of that the written execution of that concept is the pain, the heavy lifting pain. And just like many other writers, I hate writing, but I love to have written. And so that's my way of saying good night. I'm not doing any writing tonight because I'm kind of wiped out. And I love to have written. And I know I've already written about 200 pages of this book, which is going to max out at, let's say, 250 to 275. I've only got, worst case scenario, 75 pages to go. And I've got at least 100 pages of stuff I know I have to write. I'm in good shape. But I do have to keep doing this every single day. And that's where I thank you for helping me out by being my peer pressure, by being my peer kick in the butt to get my posterior down here in this chair every single night to advance the book forward. Now tonight, I didn't advance it forward much at all, maybe an inch. But that's still better than nothing. Not much better than nothing, but still better than nothing. So thank you for that. I'm DP Knudten for the Nonfiction Brand podcast, which you can check out anytime via any podcast client. Just search Nonfiction Brand, and you're likely to see the album art, the cover art for the podcast, which features me in black and white, looking something like that. Yep, that's essentially the cover art, Nonfiction Brand, the podcast. And you can get that wherever quality podcasts are free, which is just about everywhere. And this coming Monday will feature the first of 2 episodes with Stephanie Liu, who I talked about earlier in this live stream. She's a fantastic live stream expert about how to do it, where to do it, why to do it, and all that stuff, including all the technical stuff involved. So great conversation with her. I love talking with her about this and understanding how I can do this better. Frankly, one of the reasons I'm doing this tonight is because I learned from her a couple years ago about live streaming. So again, Stephanie Liu, new episode 105, which comes out on Monday. What, 2 days from now? Well, today's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 3 days from now. So check it out wherever fine podcasts are free. That's it for me tonight. I'll see you tomorrow night. But in the meantime, theme music. Take us on out. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.